that's the interesting part because so in our last episode we talked about old school horror and like slasher films and like The Shining and all that stuff. But
Right.
as we get older, Halloween is for the kids. You know what I mean? Like, and so
It is. Yeah.
it's almost like you can't like neglect that. You know, the reason why I'm sure we love horror is because of the Halloween movies that we saw growing
It's
up.
because we love. Right. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, so I mean those movies play a perfect role. Like, I would venture to say, none of the things that we're going to talk about are quote unquote scary, but they
Right.
did something to us that made us love those types of stories. I think is the
Yeah.
right way to say that. Welcome to another episode of Sips and Scripts. I'm your host Justin.
And I'm your host, Kyla.
And yeah, so we're just going to continue on with the Halloween theme. We're going to go through childhood Halloween movies. As you heard at the top of the show, nothing I think particularly scary or anything. I think is more or less just those movies that you love during the Halloween season. Or I know some of mine aren't necessarily around Halloween, but they are like scary themed that I grew up with.
Yes.
What is your number five for kid
All
Halloween?
right. So honestly, so my number five, I've got this. I could watch this movie for Halloween and I can watch it for Christmas. Nightmare Before Christmas.
I figured it was going to be on someone's list. So, okay.
Yes. So Nightmare Before Christmas is my number five. I love claymation and I
Hmm.
like and it is not just the claymation and the detail of the claymation in this particular claymation because there's other ones out there, but this one is so detailed and I believe and of course I mean it's a Tim Burton, so I mean it's it's creepy but in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
The music, the storyline, the concept, the boogeyman, like just the whole movie as a whole just enjoyable from start to finish
Yeah.
for me.
So, fun fact: is written by Tim Burton. It was not directed. He actually did not
Was it
direct this
directed?
one.
Okay. I knew it was a
Yeah.
Tim Burton, but I wasn't sure if it was directed by Tim Burton
Yeah. No, I got
because
you. Yeah. No, everyone thinks that because it screams Tim Burton. So, I mean, you
yeah.
can definitely tell in the writing that he did that. But yeah, no. I'm glad you like it.
It's a cult classic.
Oh,
Like
it is.
they
It for sure is, and I've seen it multiple times. It's just not for me, and that's just me
okay,
speaking.
I
It's
get
just
it.
not for me. But no, that's a great film. Yeah, I can't wait for my kids to watch it. Like I'm excited. Like, trust me, don't get me wrong. I'm not like ill, gross. It's just not for
Right.
me. Like I don't even really know why. It seems like it would be my thing, but it's just I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the claymation, but I think I like claymation. I don't know. I have to do some soul
There's
searching. I don't know
like
why.
not all your claymations are the same. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It, it's very much like when I think of Christmas and I'm watching like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and
Mm-hmm.
Santa Claus coming to town, like those are very like your cartoon, clay, like just
Mm-hmm.
original claymations that were just very simple stories, very classic, cute. Said it's so creepy, but in the best way. Um, and the music, um, alone is just really, I mean, the music just, it's fantastic. I love this movie.
Excellent,
But
excellent.
yeah, so it made my top 5.
No, great pick, great pick. So my number 5, and how we're doing this list for those watching. If one of our picks is on the others, we'll just say what where we had it ranked, and then we'll just kind of continue the conversation. So my number 5 is actually Casper, 1995.
I saw that coming.
So interesting. Not on your list.
Nope.
Okay.
I did
Excellent.
enjoy the movie. I probably could have put it as an honorable mention, but I knew that you were going to bring it up. So I knew we were going to talk about it.
Gotcha.
And that's the only reason why, because that was probably the only one that I was thinking, like, I probably could put this as an honorable mention, but I know that's going to be on his top 5. So I'm just going to let it go.
No, that's fair. No, that's fair. This is a prime example of how to do an already existing property right. Like, because there had already been the cartoon of Casper the Friendly Ghost, I think, like back in the old days. So this was this was just a fun idea and concept of, well, let's bring it into live action. And Bill Pullman, Christina Ricci, she owned my heart during the 90s. So, and then Devon Sawa, that's the 90s. Yeah, that's the 90s right there.
Yeah.
Such a fun story. I think no, I'm not going to say that for all of mine, but for this one in particular, I really appreciated, and this makes me sound like such a psycho child, I appreciated the heartbreak in the story. Of when you finally hear Casper's story and what happened to him, it breaks my heart every time. But that's why I love it so much, because I can fall into that story time and time again. So, the hijinks are, that's funny. The ghost, the brothers doing all the crazy stuff. And what's that? The last party scene, when all that is fine and dandy. Give me the moments when they're touching hands, and when
he's talking to his mom.
Oh my gosh, talking to his mom, and when Bill Pullman dies and he gives up his chance to be human just so that he can come back, like, that's what makes that movie for me. But perfect Halloween movie. You got all the supernatural elements that you could have. Like I said, the interaction with the ghosts is some of the funniest stuff that I saw as a kid, of just like, and then the gross stuff with them eating the food and then it just falling out of them. I could talk for hours on that one, but that's my number 5, Casper. I love it.
All right. So we're talking about, that brings us to number 4. This one might, I don't know, it might throw you and it might not. So it's 1984's Gremlins, the very first one.
Okay. Before you get going, I didn't include this because, to me, this is a Christmas movie.
I get it.
But it is on every list for Halloween, so I yield my time. Go ahead.
Right. Because obviously, if you can watch Nightmare Before Christmas on both Halloween and Christmas, that's the only reason why I justified putting Gremlins on the list, because I was like, okay, you would consider this a Christmas movie, but you could technically watch it for Halloween. So when I remember being a kid, the first time I watched this movie, and it scared the crap out of me. Like, number one, the amount of detail in the puppeteering of these gremlins is absolutely horrifying and very realistic. And every time they were on screen, like, it just as a kid, it just like made me squeal. But I enjoyed, I will say this, it's been a very long time since I'd seen the movie. So I couldn't, I'd have to it's like one of those, I have to rewatch it again. But I just remember being a kid and watching this movie for the first time, and it horrified. And this was like a movie that I was kind of surprised that it horrified me. Like, I think I was watching it thinking it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised at how much it creeped me out.
Oh yeah. No, for sure, for sure. No, this is a fun movie.
So, who would want? I mean, who wouldn't want a gizmo? You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. No,
But
that I
then
think
it's
that's
like,
yeah, that's classic horror trope of like having something that is virtually perfect and then
yeah,
one mistake and all hell breaks loose.
you got it wet, and then all these little things pop. I mean, the concept. I don't know who came up with this concept, but they had to have been high, because the fact that you get Gizmo wet and he's got these little things that pop off of him that turn it, like, that spawn other gremlin, like that whole concept is insane.
Yeah, yeah.
It's insane, but it worked. I feel like it worked.
Yeah, no, that's
It
a great movie. That's a great one. Like I said, just because of the heavy Christmas theme, I was like,
yeah.
let me hold off on that one. But no, that's a great pick. Great pick. So that brings me to my number four, which is Hocus Pocus, 1993.
So Hocus Pocus was my number two.
Number two. Okay. So you're very high on that one.
Mhm.
And you know, top five. So I definitely love it. I watch it every year. I'll have it on repeat in the coming days. Um, there's not much to say about a movie that just perfectly taps into, again, that wonder, that sense of wonder, and
Yeah.
that whole adventure of being, for me, again, we're dealing with witches and that whole,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, northeastern part of settled America, and they enacting a curse that brings them back. Like, it's just fun. Like, there's just so much fun to it. The musical number is, it has to be almost everyone's favorite scene. Like, I Put a Spell on
Yeah.
You. It,
Yeah.
to
I mean,
me,
so many one-liners, so many liners, so many memes, so many like Bette Midler is just
oh yeah, no, for just did
a-
oh yeah, no,
amazing.
it's a true chef's kiss. It's swinging for the fences, but doing it the right way of just being like, I'm gonna be over the top this entire time, but it worked the entire time. There was never a
Yeah.
point in the movie where you're like, all right, dial it down. You're like, no, 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 give me more of this.
Right.
Like, I want all of
Yeah.
it. And then early Sarah Jessica Parker, like, that's always
Yeah.
fun. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I mean, this it's just a fun movie. I don't even know what more that can be said about it. I mean, I'm sure most people, if you are, even if you're a horror fan, you've seen Hocus Pocus. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, it's good. Do you have any more to say about it? I mean, it's your number two, so
It's my number two. I mean, there are, like I said, there's so many like one-liners. There's so many like memes created. This is like literally like a movie that I can't go a Halloween without watching it.
mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just he meet like I have, friends of mine that, one of them bought a sweatshirt with the three faces on the front, three witches on the front, and then there's, a friend of mine that just posted she was watching it on repeat like the other day. So it's such a cult classic, but I feel like I don't even know that I would even want to call it a cult classic, because everybody that I know that has watched this movie has loved it.
At this point, it's just a classic. I think
It's a classic. I don't even
late
want to, yeah.
'90s, it was a cult classic, but now
Yeah.
it is so much in the ethos of everything we do around Halloween that it's just a
Mm-hmm.
classic now. Yeah, it's certainly not. It's not a cult classic. It's just a classic.
Yeah.
But no, that's a great pick. Great pick for me. Great pick for you. What's your number
Yeah.
three?
So my number three was 1991, The Addams Family.
Okay. Okay.
I absolutely love how I love the sarcasm of it.
Yes. Yes.
I love the sarcasm of this movie. Like, I feel like I appreciate this movie a lot more now. Not that I didn't enjoy it as a kid, but I appreciate this movie a lot more now as an adult. Um, just because it's like a lot of the memes and a lot of like the one-liners in that movie and the quotes from that movie, I'm just like, I resonate with me now as an adult versus, as
Mm,
a kid. But it's so incredibly funny, and just it Morticia and Gomez are probably like the love affair that I never knew that I wanted. until I became an adult, and I'm like, that's kind of hot. Like, that their whole, like, the way that their whole love affair is just so incredibly funny, but it's so like endearing at the same time.
yeah, no, I get what you're
And
saying.
it's they're so creepy, but in a genuinely honest and funny way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my number three. And it made it just under Hocus Pocus only because Hocus Pocus was like I said, that was just like a classic movie for me. I have to watch it every single year. And that was why Hocus Pocus was number two over Addams Family. But I would say, honestly, like, if you had to ask me now, like as an adult, which one I would prefer, it would probably be the Addams Family.
I got you. I got you. No, that is it's a good story. It's a great way to reintroduce the family to a new generation.
Mm-hmm.
To have Uncle Fester not be in the picture, and then to have him come in, and to what
Mm-hmm.
we think is he's conning them, but really he's the real Uncle Fester. Like that whole
Yeah.
like loop of all the backstabbing and the sabotage. So like it's actually a really intriguing story. Like, so I think now when I watch it as an adult, I'm more intrigued by that. Of
Yeah.
because yeah, the and of course, I mean Christina Ricci, come on.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, Wednesday Adams is just I never thought I liked goth chicks until her. So that
Christina Ricci is such an. I feel like, I don't know. Am I right in saying that she's underrated? I feel like she doesn't get
um
like, as a child actor.
I would if you put her, I would say for the length of her career and the work that she did at such a young age, I would
Yeah.
say it's a short list of people who compare to her. I think where you get lost is some of the other child actors had more gravitas in their roles,
Yeah.
think of like a River Phoenix. He only had a
Okay.
handful of movies, but did anyone put in a better performance than him in Stand by Me?
Right. Yeah.
Like name a
Yeah.
child who's acted better than him in that.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
I
kind
see
of
what.
like, yeah, if you want to go like, it's like if you want to do like LeBron stats, yes, Christina Ricci is up there. But when you do the meteor roles of like really putting you through something and making you feel something, I mean, maybe top 10.
Right.
But
Yeah.
with what she did for the length of her career, I would say for sure top 5. There's not a lot above her
Yeah.
to me.
I'd
To me.
agree.
Um,
Okay.
So my number 3,
Mm-hmm.
1991, Ernest Scared Stupid. Have you ever seen this one?
Really? I don't know. The Ernest movies.
See, yeah, don't compare him to other Ernest movies. It's just
No.
this one. Because I don't like any other Ernest movies. I just like
Okay.
this one, and I
I
adore this movie.
see.
Um,
Because anytime you say Ernest, I think they all run together in my head. So I really couldn't
no, this
pinpoint.
one, no, this one stands apart to me. Not again to me. This one
Right.
stands apart because they go full horror. I mean, and they go full creep. They go full grotesque with the monsters that are in this. Um,
Yeah.
I think uh why I love this one is because of the lore that's associated with why these things are happening. You have Ernest, who's a trash man in a town. He he's friends with these kids. Why? I don't know. It's like a weird like.
That's weird.
Well, now hold on, but Back to the Future, we never said anything. So
Look,
Doc Brown was
I've
in
never
his
watched.
70s and was hanging out with Marty McFly, who was a fresh 17-year-old. So
I did not watch Back to the Future.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. We'll litigate that for another episode.
Oh, look, yeah, I'm just.
But anyway,
Yeah, we depend
so
on
yeah, it's one of
that.
those things where they happened upon a certain area that you shouldn't be. They wake up this ancient evil, and it just attacks the town. And it's up to
Yeah,
Ernest and his dog
of course.
Rimshot to save the day. And it's just fun. Like, it's just, again, the things for me as a kid were, if it could a little scare me, but if it was fun, I was in. And so Ernest Scared Stupid to me was more fun than Hocus Pocus, just because it was a little bit more physical. There's a lot more fighting. There's a lot more
Yeah.
action that takes place in that one.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my number 3. We've already done your number 2. So what is your let's do this actually. Let me do my number 2, and then we'll do your number 1.
Okay.
All right. So my number 2 is actually 1989 Little Monsters. Have you ever seen this movie?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so it is starring Fred Savage and Howie Mandel, and actually co-starring Ben Savage. So for those who don't know, and Kyla actually doesn't know, so I'm curious to see her reaction to this. I am obsessed with the Savage brothers. They ran my life growing up. Between the Wonder Years and Boy Meets World, the Savage brothers ruled my life. So a movie about a boy who befriends the monster living under his bed is, I mean, it's like, think of your traditional buddy cop movies, but it is with a little boy and a monster who's supposed to scare him. But he captures the monster. The monster then takes him to his world. The boy finds solace in that world, but then the boss who's over the world tries to come into the real world and kind of mess stuff up, and it is so fun. I if anyone has ever seen this movie, I would venture them to say this movie is so much fun, because it is just, to me, it's almost like the ultimate little kid what if story. You conquer your fears, you then go into this whole new world. Like, he's a celebrity in the monster world because he gets to do what he wants. He, like, I can't go into the whole thing. I don't want to just tell the whole story. But yeah, if you've never watched this movie, I would definitely suggest Little Monsters.
Okay. I've never seen this movie. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not surprised, but I would venture to say you would get a kick out of it. I think you would appreciate it. It is 80s as hell. So the music, the wardrobe. There's a lot of butthead, like, name calling stuff going there. But if you liked Fred Savage as a child actor, I mean, he gives you your money's worth. And early Howie Mandel plays the monster. And I mean, God.
Speaking of Howie Mandel, fun fact, in Gremlins, Gizmo is voiced by Howie Mandel.
Wow. So that, okay. I did not know that. Learn something new every day. No, that's excellent. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, Little Monsters, my number 2. It's a great movie to me. I love it. So yeah, let's go. Your number 1.
All right. So number 1 is, shocker, it's Beetlejuice.
There we go. No, this is Michael Keaton. Um,
Uh,
yeah, go for it. Let's hear it.
so Beetlejuice, obviously, as I mean, you guys can probably tell, I'm huge. I love Tim Burton, um, and his creativity. Um, just his creativity alone is just amazing, and his storytelling. Um, Beetlejuice to me, one, I loved the cartoon. I loved the cartoon as a kid. So when I stumbled upon the movie, now mind you, this movie came out in 1988. So obviously I was born when this movie aired. So I stumbled upon this movie, later on in life. But I just remember like just being in love the story, with the characters. It had a way of playing with claymation and with
Mm.
real life that that hadn't really been done before. Um, and then you've got Michael Keaton, Gina Davis, and Alec Baldwin, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara. I mean, the cast is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is very unique. The character is very unique. I mean, there's nothing. The humor and the comedy. I think Michael Keaton played. I think I compare Michael Keaton with Beetlejuice. Like I would say how Robin Williams is Genie.
I got you. I get what you're
else.
saying. Yeah. Very much theirs. Like no one
Yeah,
else should play those roles.
absolutely not. Like I don't think anybody could have played Beetlejuice the way that Michael Keaton played Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I get that.
And just a grotesque but still endearing character. And the comedic timing and the I don't know, just everything about this movie is like it's a Tim Burton, so it's creepy, but just in the best way.
Mm.
In the
Yeah.
best way.
No, that's a great pick. That's a classic movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not quite on my list. I think I put it. I'll probably put it a little bit closer to, unfortunately, like the Nightmare Before Christmas. Of just it's not really my bag. Um,
Yeah.
but I do respect the hell out of the movie. Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder. I mean, yeah, though there's some heavy hitters in that movie. So no, I definitely understand completely. I'm not shocked to hear that on your list. So very solid list over there, Miss Kyla. Now
Thank you.
for my number one, this is a movie. It's rated PG. So I had to check
Okay.
because I was like, this isn't really a kids movie, but it is a movie that I saw growing up that does not have any blood or gore, does not have any slasher stuff. It is just a perfect, I think we were talking about it earlier, comedy,
Mm-hmm.
scary story. And it is
Okay.
1989's The Burbs, starring friend of the pod, Tom Hanks.
Okay.
You've never seen The Burbs?
I have not seen the movie. Yeah.
Oh
This is
my
one of the
gosh.
Tom Hanks I have not seen.
Oh man, this movie is so think your like your Shia LaBeouf Disturbia. Think
Okay.
think that movie,
Mm-hmm.
but think that it's the entire family who there's something weird about, and then put it in a neighborhood where you basically have a bunch of Karens.
Okay.
So you have so the
So
premise is you have Tom Hanks and his wife Carrie Fisher living in this pseudo suburban area, typical like neighborhood in the 80s. Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
No, but we're getting closer to the time
Yeah.
where you can't trust people, but everyone still kind of know your neighbor's name. You go talk to them, all that good stuff. Tom Hanks is actually taking a week off from work, and during that time, someone moves into this old rickety house and no one knows anything about them. They keep to themselves. They only come out at night, and it just makes people crazy that they don't know who they're living next to.
Mm-hmm.
So after a couple of incidents of where the things got a little too creepy, Tom Hanks, along with his neighbors, start spying on the family, and they sneak into their house and they do all this stuff that the whole time you're like, okay, is it actually the neighbors or is it these guys? You know what I mean? Like, who's the real villain here? Like, because it's like y'all are harassing them. They're not really doing anything to you.
Right.
But the whole thing is hilarious. It actually so like I said, Tom Hanks, Carrie Fisher, Bruce Dern, Laura Dern's father, and 80s star Corey Feldman is actually in this movie. And the men in the neighborhood kind of form like a little group, and it's just their job to spy on this house and to figure out what is going on in their neighborhood. And to me, it is so good because even though it was 1989, I feel like you could tell this story nowadays with a black family, with a Muslim family, with LGBTQ family. Like, just insert whatever minority, and it's the same idea of being like, hey, we're just here to live, but y'all are all in our space. But the thing that makes it, that's all I'm going to say, actually, because you need to watch this movie. This is early Tom Hanks, so this is really him leaning heavy into the comedy bag. And not over the top, but I just mean he hasn't hit that Philadelphia stride yet. So this is just him being like I don't know if you saw some of his earlier stuff. This is just more him being like, no, I'm a comedic actor. This, oh man, this is, I'm not gonna lie, about 2 years ago, I got on a stretch where I watched this movie at least twice a week for like 3 months straight.
Okay, you're insane.
I love this movie. It is just so fun, and just again, and it's the right amount of like, it is creepy because the family is creepy. They're a little weird looking. They're like hillbillies, and this is like a nice suburban area. So you are like, no, there's something weird about them. But the beauty of it is the neighbors spying on them, that they're the ones who wind up looking crazy. And so that's what makes it so fun. I just think it's a perfect movie. It's a great Halloween movie. It's not, like I said, no gore, no guts, no anything like that. It is just about a man who virtually drives himself crazy, trying to figure out what's wrong with his neighbors.
Okay, I can see how that's you make a very compelling story.
I mean, and like I said, it's a comedy. Like it is, by all means, it is a comedy. So it's not heavy at all.
I guess as soon as you started talking about it, I'm like, okay, how are we? I get, because as you were talking about, I was like, this sounds more like a comedy versus a scary movie, but I guess because of the creepy aspect of it.
Oh yeah. And I, like I said, I'm holding back some stuff. There are some things that happen that give it horror elements, but like I said, the main thing is just them driving themselves crazy just because they don't know who they're living next to, and it's hilarious. So,
I'll put that on a list. Put that on a list of things for you to watch.
That you will never watch, unfortunately.
Lies.
Yeah, whatever. Well, guys, that's the list. That's our top 5 childhood Halloween movies. We would love to hear what you guys' picks are. So as always, like, share, subscribe. In the comments, let us know what are your childhood Halloween movies, not scary movies. We want to be clear. Halloween movies. So meaning
have to be your, intensely scary.
No PG-13, PG or G. Just what are your favorite childhood Halloween movies? I've been your host, Justin.
I've been your host, Kyla.
thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys be safe out there.
Peace.